Good evening. This is going to be the 2018 compliance tutorial. First, I want to point out that you have on the left side menu all of the documents that you're going to need for your compliance. You're going to have your consent to use, your consent to disclose. Both of those forms need to be printed out and signed by the taxpayer prior to starting the return. The top portion is for the name of the tax preparer. Now, if you have a client that has a dependent that is not their son or daughter, we need the non-biological dependent questionnaire completed. At the bottom is for the non-standard dependents. So that's going to be nieces, nephews, grandchildren, stepchildren. And then there's a section for adult dependents. And then it will require the client's signature and date. If you have a client that is going to be itemizing their deductions because it exceeds the standard deduction, we will need that completed. For every answer that they should have a corresponding document for their state taxes, property taxes, their mortgage interest. The only ones that we are not going to need a corresponding document would be their contributions and their miscellaneous deductions. Most medical offices will send them a statement that states how much they had in out-of-pocket expenses, but in the event that they don't have that, they can put the amount here. And then there is the Schedule C document down here that you'll need to print out and have your client completely fill out. And you will need to upload any of those documents that apply to your client into the return. The first thing that the compliance department is going to do when they receive your return is they are going to check to make sure that you have uploaded all of your documents. If they see that there are no documents here, you will get a message and your flag will turn blue. It will tell you which documents you're missing. If you're missing all of your documents, it will just say, please upload documents. So when you log in, make sure that you have checked all of your messages. Now, when you're in your return, there are a couple of checkpoints that we're going to take a look at. Namely, if you have a Schedule C, we'll go to that and we will make sure that you have a business name and that you have income as well as expenses. We cannot accept a Schedule C that has no expenses. The other section that we will be reviewing for documentation is going to be your EIC due diligence checklist and notes. We do this for your protection because the IRS can fine you $500 per file for every return that does not have the due diligence notes in the return. You're going to find the note fields in two different sections. They're going to be in your checklist. You want to make sure that you've satisfied all the record retention requirements. You will need to list all of the documents that you're using on this return. So we've got the ID, Social Security, Schedule C, and for example, if this had a student credit on it, say the 1098-T. You'll need to make sure that all of these are answered. And if you find that your EIC credit goes away, that is probably because you've not answered one of these questions correctly. The next section that you'll want to complete for your due diligence is going to be the miscellaneous notes. We're going to have to make sure that all of this has turned green unless it says NA, which means that does not apply to your client. So the next section that we will check are your EIC due diligence notes. And you're going to put your title here, whether it's preparer or owner, and you can use abbreviations here. So interviewed taxpayer, determined dependent, lived with taxpayer all 12 months, made copies of Social Security card, ID, and income. And that can be a pretty standard statement, but you want to put in here whatever applies to your client and not the same thing for every single return. The next section that we're going to check, if you have a Schedule C, we have to make sure that you have your audit protection on that return. Every return that has a Schedule C must have audit coverage. Then we will check to make sure that you have signatures. If you have a touch screen, your client can use their finger, or if you do not, they can use your mouse. So if you're satisfied with the completion of your return, you're going to mark it ready for review. Now, at this point, we're not ready to check for compliance because we have not uploaded our documents. So mark it ready for review. Then you can go and upload your documents. Here you have a flag, a tag, and your tools. Here's where you go to scan your documents. You're going to click upload, check this box, drop files, find that client's file, and then save the uploaded document. You'll want to make sure that your file appears here. You have a 2 megabyte file size. If you can, please upload it in one file so we can process your return quicker. Sometimes you may have to split it in two if it exceeds the 2 megabytes. If you must upload each document one by one, please label that document what it is. If it's a consent, if it's an ID, please name that file. You will then be ready to send your return to compliance by checking this box. If your return is not a bank product, you may check this box as well. That just indicates to us that you're aware that you must collect your prep fees up front. That is what's going to send it to the compliance department. Once we have approved your compliance file, this will change to completed. And then once it has been transmitted, it will say transmitted. And then it will be accepted or rejected by the IRS. Again, if you find that your return has been rejected, you can go to your tools go to client status. And then if there were a rejection reason here, you would find it here. Once you have fixed that rejection reason, you'll want to be sure to go to your tags and click Reject Fixed and Ready for Compliance again. Keep in mind that we cannot see your file unless you have checked it ready for compliance.